Well, you know who's going to be grouchy? A lot of federal workers who aren't going to get a paycheck because of this shutdown. This is now becoming the second longest shutdown in U.S. history. And federal employees are going to miss their first full paycheck.
But the question is, are there cracks? Axios reporting that cracks emerge in Democrats' unity on government shutdown. We'll see. I mean, I kind of question this because there really hasn't been much of showing a break in this. Democrats seem to really think that this is working in their favor. But talk about a telling moment when Chad Pergram, our Capitol Hill senior reporter, sat down with the #2 Democrat. She basically says the quiet part out loud, admitting that families will suffer under Chuck Schumer's government shutdown. This is Catherine Clark. Listen here.
You don't think that the public will perceive that the Democrats are responsible?
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, you know, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leveraged times we have. It is an inflection point.
So we can leverage the pain that the American people are feeling. Because, by the way, it's not just government workers and the paychecks. We see that it's impacting travel because of air traffic control. So the pain is spreading out among all Americans, and it's being touched by all Americans. And they're willing to leverage that for what? So that illegals can get health care. Yeah. It just seems so ridiculous. And meanwhile, Charlie, you see the president taking help from a mystery donor to make sure at least our military aren't hurt.
And of course, you know, there have been many proposals to figure out a way to pay people like our military during a shutdown. But Democrats don't want to go along with that because then they would lose that leverage. And obviously, they, you know, on the surface, they're doing this because they care more about illegals than they do about American citizens. But there are, I think, a couple of other things at play here as well. One of which is you've got the Virginia elections going on, and Northern Virginia butts right up against Washington, D.C. There are lots of federal workers up there, and it is a heavy Democrat voting area. And I think that Democrats, in the most cynical play of all, believe that by keeping the government shut down and making those people angry, it actually helps them at the ballot box, because they are Democrat voters by and large, and they're going to get out and vote because there's no greater motivator than being ticked off. The second thing is that, of course, voters have thrown Democrats out of all power in Washington. And so Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. And anything Democrats can do to shut down, to run out the clock on Republican governance in Washington, they look at that as a total victory.
Yeah, so they can slow down the Trump pace of action by slowing down and closing the government. Also, you got all these government workers who are home, and as you said, they're Democrats. They can go out and campaign for you, too.
Yeah. Yes,
they got time on their hands. That may be the case. I do remember, Griff, when Obama was president and there were shutdowns, he wanted it to be he would never, if he got a mystery donor to pay for the military, he would say, no, thank you. He was closing down monuments, making sure people couldn't do anything.
Yeah, and look, as 40 million American families that depend on SNAP benefits are not going to get those sent, they'll remember that Chuck Schumer said that this, quote, gets better for Democrats every day. We'll see where that goes.
The campaign for Republicans should be, thank you, Democrats. So I had a friend, really quick before we move on to this, I had a friend who was on an airplane, and the the pilot said, hey, we're going to be on the tarmac for an hour because there's slowdown because there's not enough air traffic controllers. And this guy sitting next to her said really loudly, thanks, Democrats. And that should be the slogan for them. Thanks, Democrats. Every time this impacts you, thanks, Democrats.
Look, that's personal impact for sure.
Yeah.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.